Long ago, to protect their homeland from invasion, the Umbra and Lumen came together to develop a giant weapon. Only the Lumen Umbra knew the secrets to controlling its enormous form, causing it to transform into monsters capable of attacking foes. The Golem, as they called it, would become more powerful in accordance to its master's strength. The Golem's control center is its core, which receives the orders from its master. It is the weak point of the device, however, no weapon is capable of destroying it. Numerous golems were constructed in case of war, but were secreted away in other... just say the fucking word! Numerous golems were constructed in case of war, but were secreted away in another dimension. Now, even 500 years after the two clans' destruction, golems remain hidden away, still under their master's orders. 500 years ago, the Lumen sages and Umbra witches were wiped out in a chaotic war. Between the two clans, there was one unbreakable tenet of faith. The intersection of light and dark would bring calamity to this earth. Jeanne, consorting with the light in violation of that tenet, relentlessly pursues her fellow witch's destruction. Bayonetta, staring down the barrel of Jeanne's gun, sees something hiding behind the Red Witch's bloodlust. Memories that cause ambivalence towards their battle. But now, no one can change the course they have set out upon.
Why the left eye, our treasured left eye, will never fall into the hands of another!
A tyrant of a man, motivated purely by self-interest, who 500 years ago incited the witch hunts, annihilating not only the Umbra witches, but also his fellow sages. Baldur also used his magical abilities to take control of the captured Jeanne. Named after the Norse god of light, Baldur showed promise in becoming a powerful Lumen sage. However, he broke his clan's one unbreakable tenet of faith, consorting with an Umbra witch, begetting a child. It was all a ruse to take possession of the eyes of the world, the overseers of history that had previously been equally divided amongst the clans. During the following 500 years, Baldur gathered the devotion of his pious followers. Now his ambitions have reached their climax, placing the last remaining sage on the cusp of a universe anew, as he and Bayonetta, bearing his very own blood, become the eyes of the world to resurrect Jubileus the Creator and unify the Trinity of Realities. Their fate nearly decided, who will truly see it through to the very end? The true name of Jubileus, as recorded in myth, is actually constructed from unutterable syllables. This is because humans remain incapable of capturing her true glory, as she is the total embodiment of divine will. Humanity, bound to the physical world, was forced to depict and describe her in its own tongue. It is supposed that humanity selected the name Jubileus, taken from the word jubilee, meaning celebration or rejoicing, in an attempt to turn divine will into worldly happiness via repeated recital of her name. As a result of the cataclysmic events of the ancient First Armageddon, of which she sat at the very apex, Jubileus was forced into dominion over the world of Paradiso, governor of the light amongst the Trinity of Realities, and put into an endless slumber. It was from this point that the forces of light and dark began their endless battle for hegemony. The resurrection of Jubileus will trigger a reunification of the Trinity of Realities, fulfilling the desires of not only the forces of light, but also a centuries-old prayer said by those seeking divine intervention. An incredibly powerful angel once charged with governing a portion of Paradiso, immortal, he has seen the passing of countless generations in Paradiso, surviving them all, and earning his awe-inspiring title of Infinite One. It is said he turned his back on the heavens and fought an insurgency against Paradiso. Upon ultimately losing the battle, he was exiled to Inferno. However, there are others that say the rulers of Paradiso feared his power and ensnared him in a trap that led to his exile. During his time in paradise, the angel Rodin was charged with the task of creation, responding to divine will with various masterpieces. He was known as a genius smith, renowned for his weapons and armor. The stories of grossly outnumbered troops using his weapons to eviscerate demonic forces are too numerous to tell. After being forced from Paradiso, it is said the newly condemned demon tired of the chaotic battles that rage endlessly in Inferno and disappeared from the infernal realm. No one knows of his whereabouts since. When the cosmos was split into light, darkness, and chaos in between, the incredibly powerful Sheba was born alongside the darkness-controlling world of Inferno. She lives in the hellish land and is often classified as a demon, However, the full details of her existence are unknown. The Ithavoll Group, once a medium-sized IT company, through acquisitions has broadened its business base and become one of the world's leading conglomerates. Their base of operations is on a man-made island off the coast of Vigrid, known as Isla Del Sol. Isla Del Sol was initially constructed to concentrate Vigrid's urban functions in one area and facilitate expansion. However, its true function is to funnel enormous power to the ruling authorities, creating an autonomous region under Ithavoll Group control in order to facilitate the creation of a theocracy. The CEO of the Ithavoll Group, claiming to be a descendant of the Lumen, has used his economic and political strength, even exploiting the faith of the people, to bend Vigrid to his will. That is how he was able to influence the construction of the island, as well as the city's urban planning, to match his own religious views. Buildings are lined up as if they were an enormous spiral being drawn towards the center of the island, a symbol of the Trinity of Realities known as the Cosmos of Chaos. Among these urban structures, there are SAM-equipped strategic defense sites known as Jallarhorns, tall buildings creating a skyward barrier that is nearly impregnable. At the center of this curtain of defense lies the Ithavoll building, the heart of the Ithavoll conglomerate. I've been able to obtain important information regarding the building itself. While it may be the outward symbol of the city's wealth and pride, the inner sanctum of the building is home to advanced energy research that the Ithavoll CEO is secretly using as leverage that he hopes to will allow him to remake the world according to his vision. It sounds absurd, but I've seen things on that island so strange that I believe it now with all my heart and soul. The Ithavoll Group holds complete control over Vigrid, planning the city and arming it to the teeth, all while using rhetorical flourishes to conceal the conglomerate's many dark facets. The company's vast political and economic power has created an island held as the symbol of modernity, Isla Del Sol, and placed its headquarters at the symbol's very center. At the conglomerate's top stands a man said to be a descendant of the long-departed Lumen, a man who has earned the adoration of the people, Baldur. Baldur is, as they say, a mystery wrapped up in an enigma. If he truly is one of the descendants of the Lumen, that would mean that the blood in his veins has been pumping since their extermination some 500 years ago. However, even if you look back through decades of Vigrid's records, there is no knowledge of anyone with a Lumen lineage. Furthermore, if you search for information on his hometown, schooling, work history, or family, you find that it has all been forged. There is no record of his life before Ithavoll, nor are there any stories of unimpeachable veracity. It seems like he has been hiding details of his life ever since his birth. I have already chronicled the unprecedented military expansion and turbulent movements related to next-generation energy research taking place in Vigrid. However, a man who has, for years or even decades, hidden the facts of his life is now at the very pinnacle of power of a conglomerate with literally earth-shaking might. The question begs to be asked, what is this man capable of? There remains one thing that worries me about Baldur. There are rumors that he has been partaking in the game of the Lumen Sage. In other words, feverishly hunting out any remaining Umbra witches, in order to facilitate his next-generation energy research. It is hard to believe that a member of that clan, thought to have crumbled away 500 years ago, still remains unbeknownst to the world at large. However, when considering that they are purported to have wielded massive power as overseers of the world, the word that this self-styled sage Baldur is actively seeking a witch forces one to have major qualms. And of course, while the sound of research into next-generation energy is incredibly attractive, the marvelous ascent of Baldur, as well as his startup company and his control of an arsenal of armament and fortifications, has all been conducted under a cover of total media control. Could one honestly say that all this secrecy would be needing for something that has peaceful uses? Another troubling sign is the ease of which one can acquire information regarding the Ithavoll conglomerates as of late. It may just be my journalistic sense, but I feel like there is a possibility that Baldur is intentionally leaking information. If we make that assumption, that leaves me with no way out. Ever since I began covering Vigrid's transformation, the dark shadow behind the Ithavoll Group, I have been on an inescapable crash course with the truth. Even if it was a trap, and I must overcome that trap to get to the truth, I am hell-bent on doing so. If you find this page undestroyed and in the hands of another, that means something has happened to me. I wrote these notes in case that very if should come to pass. However, it still makes me wonder how far I will have gotten on my journey. Maybe I've been able to grasp some sort of truth from the darkness of confusion. Maybe I've been able to give my son the understanding of what it means to truly believe. To the son I love more than anything in this world, if you are the one to read this, forgive me for throwing myself into work and thinking little of our family. I am a foolish man, much too attached to my beliefs and entirely unable to change. I am sure that this has caused you immeasurable trauma. Now you set off on your own journey down this long, hard road we call life. However, as a father, I have nothing I can teach you and even less I can leave you. Hopefully you will remember the short time I spent with you as a token of my love. I pray that it will become for you a roadmap to a life of substance.